China, the colossus of Asia, has slowly but steadily grown its influence over American countries in the past 2 decades. To the United States' dismay, the rise of leftist governments in the continent has prevailed, increasing Chinese presence in territory the US had claimed under its protection in the past. As Chinese flags unfurl alongside those of Latin American nations, the shift in the balance of power and the threat this poses to the United States leaves many to wonder what lies on the horizon for the Americas. This is the case of Argentina, where in 2014, the government of then-President Cristina Fernández de Kirchner allowed the Chinese to build a space station located some 18 miles from the village of Bajada del Agrio in the country's southwestern province of Neuquén. Oddly enough, the space station's construction had begun a year earlier, immediately raising concerns among United States officials, as Argentina's Congress only gave the green light in 2015. Whichever the case, the facility was fully built by 2017 and spanned over 200 hectares with a 16-story antenna. Once the base was finished, new government officials requested a revision of the 50-year lease agreement that forbade Argentinian personnel from entering the facility. This was partly due to the minimal oversight by Argentine authorities and its potential military use. According to China, the station's objectives are peaceful space observation and exploration. The 35-meter diameter antenna can probe distances exceeding 300,000 kilometers above Earth's surface. This antenna is one of 3 that comprise the country's deep space station network, becoming one of the essential assets for China's successful spacecraft landing on the dark side of the moon in 2019. Despite its public and noble objectives, the base has become scrutinized, especially by the new Argentinian government, for the station is almost inaccessible to Argentina's personnel. The China Satellite Launch and Tracking Control General, or CLTC, closely operates the base, raising significant concerns about its true purpose. American personnel have claimed there are serious concerns about potential military use by the Chinese, which should be a cause for concern. The large antenna and the station's remote location could be used for long-range communication and surveillance, raising questions about its peaceful objectives. Current President Javier Milei is considering inspecting the base to verify compliance with the contract, which stipulates that Argentina must utilize 10% of the base's resources. This is part of the ongoing efforts by the Argentinian government and US officials to scrutinize the base, keeping the public informed. The president has been questioning the secrecy surrounding the activities inside the Chinese base and is committed to figuring out what the personnel inside are concealing from the public's eyes. Under President Milei, Argentina is aligning more with Western governments and has approached the US government and military for closer ties with the South American country. In late March 2024, US Ambassador to Argentina, Mark Stanley expressed skepticism about the station's true purpose, suspecting it may be used for military rather than civilian purposes. Only time will tell if China is indeed employing its base for deep space exploration, and not the militarization of space. The suspicions and skepticism surrounding this issue, including the station's remote location, the lack of transparency in its operations, and the short time between the 3 missions, make it a compelling topic to follow, especially regarding China's latest efforts in deep space exploration. As part of its ongoing ambitions to surpass the US in the new space race, China was spotted in December 2023 launching what appeared to be an experimental reusable spacecraft for the 3rd time. The reusable asset was launched using a Long March 2F rocket from the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center in the Gobi Desert. According to Chinese media outlet Xinhua, the spacecraft was sent into low Earth orbit for reusable technology verification and space science experiments for the peaceful use of space. The report stated the craft was expected to return to its intended landing site in China after operating in orbit for some time. According to information gathered by the US Space Force and other agencies, the spacecraft's first mission was in 2020, followed by a second mission in 2022, which lasted 276 days. The third mission comes just 7 months after the second mission. The short time between the 3 missions suggests rapid and substantial progress in spacecraft reusability programs led by the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. This progress underscores the need for vigilance and awareness of China's advancements in space technology. Although China has revealed little information about the spacecraft, and no images are available, the U.S. suspects the spacecraft is similar in size and function to the USAF X-37B spaceplane. American personnel reached this conclusion after inspecting the payload fairing wreckage recovered from the second launch. Pictures were posted on the Sina Weibo social media site. The first and second missions of the reusable craft comprised deploying satellites into orbit and conducting orbital maneuvers. Intelligence suggests that the ongoing third flight will seek to test other spacecraft's capabilities, possibly for military use. This potential military use of the spacecraft underscores the gravity of the situation. This brings China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation closer to developing a fully reusable, functional, two-stage-to-orbit space transportation system. With national funding to back this program, the U.S. is once again heavily concerned about China's long-term objectives, which many speculate involve the militarization of space. Brian Whedon, Director of Program Planning at the Secure World Foundation, told Space News, quote, "I think both programs reflect the current relationship between the U.S. and China. Each sees the other's secretive spaceplane program as a potential threat and destabilizing weapon while insisting that their program is important but benign." China has been conducting additional space operations without interruption as part of the ongoing tensions between both world powers to surpass the current capabilities of the United States. For instance, in early 2019, China's Chang'e 4 lunar probe became the first human-made spacecraft to touch down on the far side of the moon. Furthermore, the Chang'e 4 also returned the first-ever close-up photograph of the moon's far side. As if that was not enough, seeds sprouted in the lunar lander's biological experiment, marking the first time plants have sprouted on the moon. The Chang'e 4 mission comprised a lander and a rover named U-221. The total launch mass was 3,780 kilograms, with the lander weighing 3,640 kilograms and the rover 140 kilograms. As a result of the successful operation, the Chang'e 4 team was awarded the gold medal by the Royal Aeronautical Society in November 2019 and the World Space Award by the International Astronautical Federation in October 2020. After these vast achievements that earned praise from many countries in the global community, China conducted a near-side sample return mission in 2020. Craving for more success, China launched another space mission dubbed Chang'e 6 on May 3, 2024. Space reporter Andrew Jones then spotted a mini-rover attached to the Chang'e 6 lander in images shared by the China Academy of Space Technology. Although little is known about the purpose of the 4-wheeled contraption or how China intends to land it on the moon and extract it, the discovery has once again sparked speculation and dark theories. The news comes after the success of other moon landings conducted by other Asian competitors, such as India and Japan. China has stated that the Chang'e 6 mission will explore the southern edge of the Apollo basin on the far side of the moon and aim to bring back over 4 pounds of samples. The last time a space mission returned samples from the moon was in 2020. China's Chang'e 5 missions successfully returned lunar samples, marking the first time in over 40 years that lunar material was brought back to Earth. Before that, the Soviet Union's Luna 24 mission in 1976 was the last to return lunar samples. This mission represents a significant step in lunar exploration and could pave the way for future missions that will explore the dark side of the moon. Although China has recently enjoyed a continuous wave of impressive successes with its latest space exploration operations, there have been some mishaps in its quest to explore the moon and outer space. Most recently, United States intelligence agencies published images of a Chinese rocket that collided with the moon's surface in March 2022. Although the crash is nothing out of the ordinary regarding this type of outer space operation, its unconventional secret payload is. According to the Planetary Science Journal, the debris belongs to critical components of the experimental spacecraft Chang'e 5T1 rocket. In October 2014, China launched the Chang'e 5T1 mission from the Xichang Satellite Launch Center. The operation was a precursor to the Chang'e 5 mission, which successfully returned lunar samples to Earth in 2020. In January 2022, U.S. space debris tracker Bill Gray forecasted the rocket would collide with the moon's far side within months. Initially, experts believed the celestial object detected was part of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, but it was indeed China's 5T1 rocket. Nonetheless, China claimed its rocket had disintegrated in the atmosphere years ago. This could not be farther from the truth. When the missile eventually collided with the moon's surface near the Hertzsprung crater, experts instantly noticed the impact and unique double crater, suggesting the presence of an undisclosed additional payload. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter concluded that rockets generally do not produce this type of impact after an investigation, setting the stage for something more mysterious. Thus, NASA examined how sunlight reflected off the debris as it tumbled through space and conducted some simulations. Specialist Tanner Campbell from the University of Arizona thought the same and concluded that the stability of the tumbling motion indicated a substantial mass on the rocket booster's top end, leading to the double crater, unlike the usual round or oblong ones from past missions, such as the American Apollo missions. In other words, Campbell stated the heavy engines at the bottom of the rocket, weighing about 544 kilograms, were balanced by something mysterious and unidentified on top, creating the mysterious impression on the moon's surface. In his paper, Campbell mentions, quote, "This is the first time we see a double crater. We know that in the case of Chang'e 5T1, its impact was almost straight down, and to get those two craters of about the same size, you need two roughly equal masses that are apart from each other." Despite the detailed analysis, the exact nature of the mysterious payload remains uncertain, with various potential explanations ranging from extra support structures to supplementary instrumentation or a classified military asset.